something from the comics was introducing Melissa's girlfriend, and just because you sort of layer in the fact that she's bisexual, and it's this like wonderful little character detail that's just sort of in it. I'm wondering if that was to come to the show, if that's something that was important to you from the beginning, or is it something that, because again, I just think it's really lovely the way it just sort of is. I love the idea that MODOK is this super villain, but having a bisexual daughter doesn't faze him. That's not a problem to him. So I'm wondering if that was conversations you had for season 1, something you always plan to review on season 2, or anything like that.
Yeah, it was something we always kept trying to get to in season 1. The problem is season 1 is so much about MODOK and everyone's relationship to MODOK that we never really get to see Melissa's life outside of him. Mm-hmm. And, there was moments where we tried to work it in, like, in the pilot, she holds up a dead boyfriend, and we're like, I don't want to like introduce this relationship, and then the first thing we do is murder the person, and there were lines and stuff that were always in there. So I was like, I want to tell the story, I want to tell it right. And I was very annoyed that we didn't get to. It was just kind of, you're constantly cutting things for time, and and really her story with MODOK was about them, and not her life outside of it. But it was always something that was like, oh, I wanted to get to that.
Well, in a really like lovely normalizing it way, it wasn't mentioned to me at first while we were recording, and I think a lot of the focus of season 1 is on the family and their sort of dynamics. And hopefully if we get to do more, we'll get to dive more into, the personal lives of especially the kids, because I think in season 1, we just kind of more see them in the space of the family. Representation
is very important for me in the show. So we were so happy that we were able to kind of canonize it in the comic. And so was Melissa Fumero. Was so excited. I actually bought that page for her.
In regards to her sexuality, we did a similar storyline on Brooklyn Nine-Nine with the Rosa character. So I got to experience firsthand how meaningful that was for, I think it was the first time on network television that a character said, I'm bisexual, like just said the words. And to see the impact that had on people, particularly young people, was just incredibly moving, and you just see the importance of it. So I'm so proud. I was thrilled when Jordan told me that, they had planned to make Melissa bi and that it was in the comics. And if we get another season, we get to dive into that more, because particularly she's a teenager, and how confident and sure of herself she is, that could be a powerful thing for a kid to see, to just be like, oh, I am completely fine. Like, I am who I am, and there is nothing wrong with that.
We wanted to showcase a modern family that feels real, and I'm in an interfaith relationship or marriage, and that leads to a lot of interesting stories. And the same thing of having, a mixed family where MODOK is Jewish and, Jody is Mexican, and having a son having a bar mitzvah, being able to tell my story, that was just something we really wanted to do, because there are so many just all white, animated families. And the last thing we wanted to do was kind of add to that, as opposed to be able to create a family that feels new and different and unique and kind of representative of what families look like now.
The thing about what we do that really speaks to me, and I feel that I just always want to be like in service of, because stories can really impact people in really deeply meaningful personal ways. So yeah, I hope we get to do more so we can dive into that.
I would love to just be able to now, not leave MODOK behind, but introduce these characters that you love them, that you want to go on journeys with them into their own worlds as well, outside of how they relate to MODOK. So that was something that we absolutely want to tackle in season 2.